so much to actually get into Godot 4 as well. Is there anything specific in Godot 4 at the moment that you're really looking forward to? Something that's perhaps not ready yet, but
there's a ton of stuff. Okay, let's play. I'll
hey,
get back into here and share my screen again.
Welcome to Jan's Let's Play.
All right, so let's start with our firewall.
Oh yes, the particles. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my particles. I have two Omni lights right in the center here. That if I stop the emission, boop, are just there so that when you walk towards the thing, you cast shadows. There's a number of fun things going on here. Fun thing number one is if I open my, I don't want the light, I want the, there we go. If I open my process material, I scroll down, we've got collision. If I open my character has a GPU particles collision. Now, at the moment, there's a limit to how many shapes you can have. There's a sphere, there's a box, and there's an array. I don't want to mess around with it too much. I'm just using a basic box. But there's a lot of fun things you can do. Another great fun thing is what I call it, stream. No, I called it water jet.
Oh, you said you were playing with water.
Okay, so I've got a water jet and a spray. Both are particles. The water jet has subemitter spray. Okay, and I can pick a subemitter. And if I go all the way down to subemitters, at collision, I want you to do this. So if I go to the starter room and I bring that in, and let's just move that to the side.
Ooh.
Okay, now bear in mind, the collision shape is a cube, so this won't look perfect, but give it a second to catch up, let the navigation bake so it's a bit faster. Come on, Bob, there we go. There we go. When I walk into it, it's generating a spray.
That's awesome.
Right?
I'm really glad I asked the question
so at the
now.
end of fire, we could have smoke.
Yes.
There's amazing things we could do with this. Other cool things. The SDFGI itself, the lighting system, is just a lot of fun. It took me a while to get the volumetric fog and so forth where I wanted them. And currently, I actually had that off. When I turn on SDFGI, I'm going to get these kinds of errors.
Yep.
Unless I reload the project. So if I reload current project, I thought that was on. Let's try that again. Boop.
That's interesting. I remember when particles were like that in Blender, where you had to restart the blend file for the cache to actually delete.
Alpha. Okay, so now this looks a little bit darker, right? So as we go in, it's a little bit jerky while navigation is baking. I shouldn't really be moving around while it's doing this, but you can. There we go. So now this is why I had to bring the flashlight in. There's also little bugs with the lighting that, sometimes they do this. Hello, little cupboard. It's clearly a janitor's cupboard.
That's brilliant.
The new navigation system is awesome. I mean, the fact that each of these rooms could have its own navigation server. I'm not doing it this way, but they could, right? I could generate a navigation server for each room and then bring them in. Where's Bob? Oh, there he is. Work it that way. But if I take a look at the actual navigation code, again, hot code, don't judge me. La, 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 la.
Also, might crash any moment.
Yeah. So within Bob, one, there's a GPU particle sphere, because why not? 2, Navigation Agent 3D.
Is that a new node, isn't it?
That is a brand new thing. This is not how navigation used to work. Targets, desired distance. How far from the target should you be? What's the radius of the agent?
Yeah.
The height offset from the navigation mesh. I'm not playing with that. And then a bunch of neighbors things you can do. All right. So let's take a look at the NPC script. So this is 27 lines of code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of which are empty. Let's go and embiggen the screen. Why aren't you embiggening? Oh, it's a different button now. Okay, good. Okay. So the velocity, this is just basically how fast do I want you to move. I can change that.
Yeah.
Currently, I've got a print player just to show you, oh, I found the player. Cool. Every node, if there is a player, so if you haven't found the player yet, just ignore all of this. Look at the player. Great. Here we go. Navigation agent 3D, set target location, player, global transform origin. In other words, every frame, if you know who the player is, I want you to set your target to the position on the map where the player is.
The world
I
position,
haven't written any of that code. I've just called it directly. It's just built into Navigation Agent 3D. If Navigation Agent 3D distance to target is less than 1.5 meters, magic number. In other words, if you're close enough, I want you to set your linear velocity, which is a brand new function in Rigid Dynamic Body 3D, which is the new Rigid Body 3D, to vector 3.0. Stop moving. Otherwise, if the target is reachable, I want you to get to the next location in your path. And here's the fun bit. Your velocity is going to be target minus global transform origin normalized. In other words, from where they are to where you are. In other words, move in that direction. Normalized time velocity. So move in that direction times speed. We're not accelerating or decelerating, we're just moving. Navigation agent set velocity vel.
Yeah.
This allows obstacle avoidance. If there's an obstacle in the way, slow down and try and find a way around it. If you can't find a way around it, just get close and then stop. So this is how it's going to handle doors. Doors have obstacles set as obstacles. So if the door is closed, it'll get to the door and stop, or find another way around. It won't keep running into the door.
I mean, this isn't something that we plan to implement at all. But just on that, I can imagine you being able to, if you were making a stealth game, you can now shut a door, meaning that they can no longer see you, and make the last target the new obstacle, and then proceed to search from there once they've reopened the door.
I can also do things like, if I go to the table has a navigation obstacle in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the skeletons, the NPCs, won't run blindly through the table and push it. They'll try and avoid the table.
That's going to be a huge difference to the playability.
If the table is wedged into the door, remember they can't jump, they will stop.
Ah. You can barricade a door.
You can barricade a door. Emergent gameplay.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the nice thing about this is I haven't had to write any of this. The actual, methods, I mean, the documentation isn't there yet, but the actual methods are built in and ready to go. So, yeah, you just drop it into a rigid body, and you use the built-in commands. I had to look them up on the Godot 4 blog, and they'll work. This signal here, on Navigation Agent 3D velocity computed, and it returns safe velocity, this is to do with obstacles.
Yeah.
And they can be moving obstacles, right? So it could be other NPCs.
That's good. That also means they're not going to bunch up into one another.
Or traps.
Now we're going to have an awareness
pendulum
value.
swinging, they'll slow down and try and move. Things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll just set linear velocity, which is the new way that you move rigid dynamic bodies, to safe velocity. So that system is amazing. And the way the navigation server works, right now we just have one navigation region, but if you have multiples and they touch, they'll just work.
That's such a godsend for level building. If you weren't making your level procedurally, then you're going to want to be able to, if you've curated your rooms, if you're making your whole level modular, but you're putting it together, being able to stitch together a navigation layer just by having them next to one another means you can complete a room. You don't have to wait until the level is designed.